mirrors that don't just reflect, mirrors that watch, that wait, and some mirrors reach out for you. Tonight we face one of them, the phantom mirror, and whatever stares back may never let you go. There are objects in this world that should never be touched, memories that should never be recalled, and mirrors that should never be looked into. Tonight we encounter one of them. Emily Carter had always been drawn to the unusual, the rare, the forgotten pieces of the past, but nothing in her years of collecting had prepared her for this. On the edge of Hollow Creek stood an abandoned mansion, a structure so decayed it seemed to swallow the fog around it. Its windows were dark, its doors creaked even when untouched, and the air carried the scent of long-forgotten secrets. She had heard whispers of a mirror hidden somewhere inside, an artifact of unmatched beauty and unmatched terror. The moment she stepped inside, her flashlight flickered, casting long, uneven shadows that danced across the broken floorboards. Dust hung in the air like drifting spirits, clinging to the faint light as if reluctant to settle. And there, against the far wall, was the mirror, a tall, ornate frame twisted like blackened vines, a surface so dark it reflected nothing at first glance, yet seemed to pulse with a life of its own. The air grew colder, heavier, as if the room itself were aware of her presence. She felt it, a magnetic pull compelling her closer. At first, the reflection was normal. Emily's tired eyes, her cautious movements, the slight tremor of her hands. But then, ever so subtly, the image moved differently than she did. A blink where she had not blinked. A slow blink, deliberate lift of the hand that did not match her own. Her breath caught, and the hair on her neck stood on end. The mirror seemed to hum softly, a sound so low it felt beneath hearing, vibrating in her chest. Her reflection smiled, a smile far too wide, far too cruel, stretching unnaturally. A whisper followed, soft and insidious, curling around her ears like smoke. "Emily, come closer." She tried to shake it off, convincing herself it was imagination. But the whisper grew. "I can show you the truth, the things hidden behind your world, the faces you pretend not to remember." Her heartbeat accelerated, a frantic drum. But before she could step back, her body moved toward the mirror of its own accord, drawn by invisible strings that she could neither resist nor understand. The reflection had changed entirely. Black eyes stared from within, unblinking and endless, a void that seemed to reach into her soul. The lips moved in ways that defied nature, forming words that her own ears could scarcely comprehend. "Let me in, or I will come out." The surface rippled, liquid-like, beckoning, threatening. Emily stumbled backward, but the door slammed shut behind her, with a sound that rattled her bones. Panic clawed at her throat as something cold and insistent wrapped around her wrist. A pale, bony hand reached from the mirror, fingers curling like a predator, ready to drag her in. She screamed, pulling with all her strength, but the grip was relentless. The glass shivered, quaking as though alive, and distorted faces pressed against it from the other side. Silent screams, eyes wide with terror, pleading for escape that would never come. A surge of adrenaline gave her the courage to kick, to strike the mirror again and again, and finally, cracks spiderwebbed across its surface. Smoke, black and thin, curled through the fractures, leaking like shadows breaking free. Then, with a final deafening shatter, the mirror exploded into shards. Silence. Absolute, suffocating silence. She fell to the floor, trembling, listening to nothing but her own ragged breathing. Later, when the terror seemed to fade, Emily returned home, trying to convince herself it had been a hallucination, a product of her fear and imagination. She stood in front of her bathroom mirror, washed the dirt from her face, and finally exhaled, feeling relief. For a moment, all was normal. The reflection was her own, yet as she blinked, that relief crumbled. Her reflection lingered for a heartbeat too long before it blinked on its own. And then, slowly, impossibly, the reflection smiled. Not Emily's smile, but the same cruel, wide grin from the phantom mirror, carrying a promise. The terror had not ended. It had only begun. There are mirrors in this world that watch. There are mirrors that wait, and some mirrors are patient. Even now, as you listen, perhaps somewhere, one of them gazes back at you, and it waits. If this story kept you awake, then the next one will haunt you even more. Subscribe to Night Narratives 2.0 and never miss the darkness.